dedicated spawns in this corner of the map and then over here, and then that can change any mode. So in this case, in Domination, the little airplane starts here and here, and then what will start happening is you start capturing, a lot of actions going on, and the map gets a little bit crazy. So what you really got to be aware of is that when you look at the mini-map, you can kind of see where your teammates are. So if you saw a teammate here, then you know that the enemies are going to be in the middle. And this is kind of a simplification of exactly what's happening. So even if enemies are not showing up on the minimap because they're either going to ghost, there's no UAV in the air, or there's a lot of different elements, you got to factor in knowing where the spawns are likely to come. So if enemies are spawning here, and they want to run this way, you already know where they're going to be coming out from. They're going to walk from here, and then they're going to come out from here. So more than likely, this is where you're going to go ahead and get engagement. So that's why a lot of people like to camp on this roof on top of the farm, because you can see people in there. If they want to go ahead and take the longer route, they can come through here. And that's why this spawn, I don't necessarily like the spawn in general, that's just where the game decides it, is because you're kind of left out in a choke point, whether you want to come through here or here. You're kind of in a choke where you have to come out, and you have to run out, and you have to sprint or jump or whatever, because somebody is going to be playing it. So it kind of makes it a little bit tricky how you have to play game at time. So when you move around the map, a lot of times what you're kind of doing is what we see in Battle Royale, at least now with the new squad spawn mechanic, you do like that pinwheel rotation. You're kind of working your way around the outskirts, and you're kind of doing a lap around. You kind of generally want to stay on the outskirts when it comes to most of the map. If you go in the middle, then there's too many lanes that can actually shoot you, and that's going to lead to easy deaths. So if you want to avoid death, you go ahead and make sure that you're going to adjusting for that by staying to the outskirts, go ahead and move through the building. Obviously, if you know if we're in the open here, you're going to get shot from multiple angles. So this, what happens is building you can cover A, there's building you can cover B, you can work through, and you kind of work through the building, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but that's kind of what's necessary, especially with the squad spawn. Teammates are going to be spawning on top of you, so it kind of throws sometimes the logic out of whack on where you think spawn would be. Basically doing a loop back and forth kind of rotates and allows you to kind of have a good grounding with where the enemies are, as well as your teammates are, and hopefully there's some streaks in the air that'll kind of help accommodate you in these areas so that you kind of not necessarily have to guess, because obviously guessing can only hurt you so far, even if they are educated guesses. That's a simplified version. Obviously, as you get a little bit better, there's more advanced things, but I'll do probably a full dedicated video on the mini-map in the future if that's something you guys would be interested in. Let me know for sure in the comment section. That's something the other part is, now that you kind of got a little bit of awareness, you got to make sure that you're doing your one piece. You got to shoot straight, you know kind of where the enemies are going to be coming from. We're not moving around too fast. How do we win our one-on-ones? If somebody comes around the corner, you come around the corner at the exact same time, ideally what you're trying to do is you're going to hip fire while you're aiming down sight, and that'll make obviously your hip fire rate, your centering, getting on target, shooting, hopefully you land at least one bullet by the time you get in sight, and then you will be able to win the gunfight because you got that first shot off. And that's the key in a lot of these. You need to get the first shot off. Hopefully you aim for the chest. The key is to aim for the chest, because when the enemy shoots you, you will get flinched off into a headshot. Obviously, you would think, oh, you know, just aim for the head. But if you aim for the head, unless you have a one-shot kill weapon, what will happen is you'll get flinched and you'll miss the shot. And a lot of times people aren't aware of this, so they're aiming for the head and then they're losing gunfights. You aim for the upper chest, when you get flinched, you're going to get an automatic headshot. The TTK drops dramatically with a lot of these weapons when you get a headshot. If you know somebody's in a specific area when you're moving around, you got to go ahead and utilize your tactical. One of the best tacticals, obviously, right now is a flash that a lot of people use. The shock stick doesn't have a huge area, but it is there. Snapshots can allow you to see enemies, and this can be very useful because a lot of the objects, you can actually penetrate them with your bullets, so it makes it super effective there. On top of that, with lethals, the most broken one, especially if somebody's kind of camping it up, the drill charge is super effective for that. Just roll to the wall, it's pretty much go through. Even if they have stuff that's going to protect them, it will make it so that you are at least able to move them out of position, make them one shot, and put the gunfight in your favor while they're moving. The other part is some basic fundamentals with the creative class. The creative class seems super complicated this year, but it ends up being relatively easy to use. The main thing you want to probably focus on are what are quote-unquote meta weapons, especially if you don't have a lot of playtime. You got to use the weapon weapons that are probably the most ideal. The M4 is a good all-around starter gun. I think there's other guns that are just as good, if not better, all around, but this one's a good starter gun regardless of skill level. You really start with that one, level it up, and then you'll have access to various attachments. If you do like the iron sights, keep the iron sights, save an attachment. You can go ahead and equip a bigger mag. If you want to play a little bit more fast-paced, 45 round mag is probably good. If you go 60, it'll slow down quite a bit. And that's what we're noticing with a lot of attachments. They do slow you down. So if you're looking to have a little bit of movement and not get penalized so hard, you kind of got to stick to what gives you the benefits without the drawbacks. The laser that helps you sight speed, that's like a tac laser. It helps aim stability. This is very much like a tac laser that we saw in a lot of warfare. Or you can go with the regular one that's going to give you that sight speed without the laser visible, which we have those as well. Then we have the underbarrel, which if you have one that helps with aim stability, it's very similar like a tactic program. So you can kind of keep it simple. And then for myself, I like to run a suppressor because I want to stay up the mini-map. Personally, the one that helps with sound suppression, bullet velocity, range, and recoil smoothness, this is all around best, especially since we're making up for it with an aim down sight speed. This is kind of the way I would go, and then probably build an optic. So kind of build it simple. The other part is you do not have to have 5 attachments, especially with all the penalties that's going on. Sometimes the gun will feel better with less attachments. And that's okay, but there's obviously going to be different builds for different scenarios. Kind of just build it out based off of that. So red package, it can get a little bit interesting because obviously it depends on what level you're at. I think bomb squad is a good way to go just because it allows you to eat a little bit of explosives. The other one, you can go a lot of different routes. I think tracker is pretty good. I think if you go double time, you're just asking to be punished. A lot of times I go with scavenger because I'm trying to go on a little bit of a longer streak. You can run out of ammo pretty quick if people aren't running the exact same weapon. The other one that probably makes the most sense is extra tactical, because then that'll allow you to get an extra stun. Then I think for how slow a lot of the stuff is in the game, fast hands work really well, much longer streaks. If you want a little bit faster streaks, you can actually go hard line. This will allow you to get UAVs after like 3 kills instead of 4, and then you get a counter at 4 kills instead of 5. Then you got a field upgrade. I think dead silence is probably the best if you're actually looking to be mobile. You don't care, you don't want to be mobile. There's other things you can lock down an area. Portable radar is pretty effective. Trophy system for the objective, you can actually do a lot with that. And then we have deployable cover. There's DDoS. I mean, there's a lot of fun ones in here. But I think the trophy system is probably the best all around. If you're playing objective game modes like Hardpoint where you got to jump on there, throw one of those on there. You can sit. Somebody has to win a gunfight to take you out, and since they have to move into the room, they are penalized and you get a free kill. Generally, kill streaks are going to be better as score streaks for the most of the time, unless you're just playing straight TDM. I think score streaks are generally going to be better, so you can go ahead and toggle that at the bottom left. You can go ahead and see that toggles on and off. I'll put those on, and then generally what you're going to want to do is start with lower streaks. If you're consistently getting those, then maybe ramp up 1 or 2 of the streaks. If you start off high and you realize that you're not getting these every match, because these are something you should be getting every single match. If that's not the case, then you should probably tone it down so you're actually getting the usefulness of score streaks or kill streaks, depending on how you want to build that out. One other huge thing is to play in a party. If you're in a party, then you can give comms and communicate where people are at, maybe double stun, double nade, whatever the case is, and you can work effectively as a team. There's a lot of ways to find parties, whether you want to go on Reddit, in the comment section, on Discord. There's tons of avenues to find other people that have similar play styles or doing the same things, whether you're leveling up a weapon or grinding a specific challenge or whatever the case is. We can go ahead and help you out and build a team to go ahead and play with as we head into Warzone 2 and DMZ. Appreciate all for the content. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.
With the arrival and proliferation of Tiberium and the rise of the Brotherhood of Nod, the United Nations formed the Global Defense Initiative. Its purpose was to maintain peace and stability around the world. To achieve this, GDI had to research methods to reduce and control the spread of Tiberium and directly counter the Brotherhood of Nod, who continued to spread their ideology. Over a roughly 50-year period, GDI and the Brotherhood would engage in 3 major wars. GDI often found itself on the defensive at the start of these times, thus the organization recognized the importance of investing in defensive systems to protect its territories and bases across the globe. During the First Tiberium War, both GDI and the Brotherhood made use of some passive base defenses, which included sandbags, fences, and concrete
90
walls.
meters from my position.
Sandbags were used to deter the advance of enemy forces and provide limited cover for some units. Sandbags were quite weak as a defense, and could be easily destroyed by grenades, tank shells, or other explosives. On the upside, they were cheap and quick for a commander's troops to set up around their base. Fences, with barbed wire on top, function similar to sandbags, offering slightly more protection at a slightly higher cost. These fences could also be taken down with relative ease, either by explosive weapons or simply being run over by light and heavy armored vehicles. While more expensive than sandbags and fences, concrete walls were the ultimate defensive barrier a commander could construct around their base. These walls were tall, making it difficult for infantry to climb over them. They could not be run over by enemy vehicles, and could block direct attacks from enemies attempting to hit units or structures behind the wall. While direct assaults from explosive weapons would eventually bring down a wall, this took up the attacker's valuable time, and allowed the defender to rally his forces and repel the assault. Some vehicles, such as Nod's artillery tanks or GDI's MLRS, could fire shells and missiles over the wall, either negating their defensive capabilities, or allowing the defender to hit attackers on the outside. Both factions would sometimes place concrete gates between the walls for their own forces to enter and exit.
Hostiles are controlling this battle.
For active base defense, GDI commanders utilized a couple of guard towers to hold off and repel attackers.
Control of Alpha 1
The standard
is
guard
out.
tower was an elevated platform with an observation post at the top. This post was surrounded by sandbags, had a metal roof covering the guard, and a searchlight inside. The guard stationed in the tower was armed with a high-velocity machine gun that was very effective at taking out infantry and some light vehicles. The tower could detect Nod stealth units within close proximity, and would remain operational if the base lost power. The advanced guard tower was, well, an advanced version of the standard tower. More specifically, this tower had improved armor thanks to its concrete and metal construction, and it featured an enclosed platform for observers. The tower had an antenna array for better detection of any nearby stealthed units, and to target approaching enemy forces with its long-range missile launchers. The tower typically fired a pair of guided missile salvos against an enemy unit. These were effective at taking out practically any units, from infantry to armored vehicles. These missiles could even target enemy aircraft, making this tower GDI's primary anti-air defense system. There are a couple of issues with the advanced guard tower, though. The first is that the Tiberium Dawn manual states that it launches Tomahawk missiles, which doesn't seem to make sense given the number of missiles that are needed to take out a single non-light tank. Of course, this could simply be a function of gameplay. Tomahawks are currently only launched from ships and submarines, though there have been tests to launch them from land-based systems. Even if GDI used a land-based Tomahawk launcher, there doesn't seem to be any indication of one on the advanced guard tower itself. The missiles just appear out of the tower and head toward their target. This same issue occurs with the advanced guard tower in Renegade, too. This could be due to limitations with the game engine at the time, but my interpretation of the AGT's attacks was that there were a couple of guards stationed inside the tower, operating anti-tank rocket launchers such as the TOW missile or Javelin. A modified version of the advanced guard tower was used later in the war. In addition to its missiles, the AGT was armed with 4 automated machine gun turrets located on each corner, below a walkway that stretched around the upper half of the guard tower.
Our attack on Alpha
These
1
turrets
is
could quickly
underway.
target and take out enemy infantry, and were an early sign of GDI's transition to using more
Alpha 2
automated
has been
defense
seized
weapons.
by the enemy.
During the Second Tiberium War, GDI made use of both upgraded old systems and new systems to defend their bases. In some instances, sandbags were still used as basic barriers, but newly designed concrete walls were most commonly used by both GDI and the Brotherhood to provide passive protection to their bases. While these walls were about the same height as the ones used during the First War, GDI's Titan mech walkers could easily fire over them at enemy targets. Automated armored gates that retracted underground were usually placed at various sections of the surrounding wall, or at strategic choke points. used by friendly ground units to enter and exit the base. Searchlight towers were usually placed next to these gates. These tall concrete structures provide an elevated observation over a given area. The guards posted at the top of these towers would alert the base to any spotted enemy units. Using the spotlight, the guards would mark the enemy unit's location, so long as it stayed within the tower's sight range.
Dropping some ammo.
Because of the Brotherhood's advances in subterranean technology, they could use vehicles such as the Devil's Tongue flame tank or subterranean ABC to travel beneath walls and emerge inside a GDI base. Such an assault could destroy valuable infrastructure or enable non-engineers to capture vital buildings. To counter this tactic, GDI made use of concrete pavement to prevent such attacks from happening, or at the very least, control where the underground vehicles emerged from. Pavement served many other purposes too. It would prevent large craters from being formed by high explosive weapons such as non-cluster missiles. Wheeled vehicles, such as harvesters, would move faster along a paved surface compared to an unpaved one. Paved surfaces would even limit the spread of Tiberium, though it would not stop the veins of a veinhole monster. When it came to active defense systems, GDI utilized 3 types of automated turrets that would be placed atop a component tower. Based on a modular construction principle, the component tower served as the basis for all GDI base defenses. These towers were unique in that they could be built as either individual structures or as part of a concrete wall. The first kind of turret was the Vulcan cannon, which consisted of 2 miniguns firing 50mm projectiles at high speed. These cannons were mainly used against infantry, though could be used to a lesser effect against vehicles. To counter vehicles, the second turret, called the rocket-propelled grenade, would be used. Its explosive charge ensured splash damage to any other units around its primary target. While the turret had more range compared to the Vulcan cannon, it wasn't as accurate. Sometimes, it was unable to hit any units that were right under the turret, with the projectiles flying well over their target. The last turret type was the surface-to-air missile. This SAM turret was only used against enemy aircraft, firing multiple guided missiles in order to bring said aircraft down. In addition to the turrets, GDI, like the Brotherhood, used the electromagnetic pulse cannon. The EMP cannon could fire a high-powered blast of electromagnetic energy that renders any mechanized vehicles inoperative for a short period. Any vehicle or structure caught in the blast is disabled until the effect wears off. This includes friendly vehicles and structures, as the ball of person had a wide blast. This weapon was particularly useful against the Brotherhood disciples, disabling them long enough for GDI forces to destroy them without taking too many casualties in return. The EMP cannon did cost a lot of power, though not as much as GDI's ultimate defense system, called the Firestorm Generator. The Firestorm defense generator created an almost infinitely high, impenetrable force field. There were 2 components to this defense system. The first was the generator itself, which is identified by the heated blue energy emanating between 2 large half spheres, with one sphere attached to a large arm and held over the other sphere. The second component was the Firestorm wall section. Used in conjunction with the generator, these emitters were constructed in a row and control the placement of the Firestorm defense shield. These emitters can be used to encircle a base, or can be set up at key strategic positions. The Firestorm barrier had to be manually activated by the GDI commander. When activated, a superheated energy wave is emitted straight up into the sky. As previously mentioned, this wave was completely impenetrable. It could block all ballistic projectiles attempting to punch through it. Any aircraft or missiles that tried to fly through the barrier would be destroyed, as the energy waves seemed to stretch well into the troposphere. One knew when the generator was active by the blue and white glow emanating from the wall sections, as well as the bursts of energy shooting upward from the corners. Ground units could only cross the wall sections when they were offline. Any that were caught on top of the sections as they were activated would be instantly destroyed. As powerful as the Firestorm generator was, it still had its drawbacks. The generator, combined with the wall sections, consumed a lot of power. Because of this, the generator could only be active for a short time before it had to be deactivated. The commander could turn the shield on and off at will, but it would automatically turn off when it ran out of power and needed